The screech of metal against asphalt tore through the morning air like a wounded animal. Marcus Webb's hands gripped the steering wheel as he watched the black Mercedes sedan flip twice before slamming into the highway median, 30 feet ahead of his pickup truck. He was supposed to be driving his daughter Emma to her piano recital. Instead, he'd sent her with his sister because he'd picked up an emergency carpentry job, the kind he couldn't afford to turn down. Single dad math, every dollar counted. Now, as smoke billowed from the wreckage, Marcus pulled over without thinking. His phone was already in his hand, dialing 911 as he sprinted toward the twisted metal. "There's been a serious accident on Route 12 northbound near mile marker 47, he said, his carpenter's boots crunching over shattered glass. "Send everything you've got." The driver's side was crushed beyond recognition, but the passenger side had somehow remained partially intact. Through the spider web of cracked glass, Marcus saw her, a woman in her 30s, dark hair matted with blood, eyes flickering between consciousness and oblivion. The car was leaking fuel. Marcus could smell it, sharp and acrid. "Ma'am, can you hear me?" He tried the door, jammed. He ran to his truck, grabbed his crowbar, and rushed back. 3 attempts, and the door groaned open. She was trapped by the crumpled dashboard, her designer suit stained crimson. A leather briefcase had spilled open beside her, papers and a tablet scattered across the seat. Her breathing was shallow, rattling. "Please," she whispered, her eyes finding his. They were deep brown, filled with terror. "Don't die. My daughter, 7 years old. Tell her." "You're going to tell her yourself," Marcus said firmly, assessing the situation with the practiced eye of someone who'd built and deconstructed 1,000 things. The dashboard had her pinned at the hips. He positioned the crowbar. "This is going to hurt, but I need to get you out. That fuel—" "Just do it," she gasped. Marcus leveraged his full weight. The metal groaned, shifted an inch, 2 inches. The woman screamed, but he kept going until there was enough space. He tossed the crowbar aside and carefully worked his arms under her shoulders and knees. "I've got you," he murmured, lifting her as gently as he could. She was light, too light. He carried her away from the wreckage, 20 yards to the shoulder, and laid her on the grass. Her eyes were closing. Blood pooled beneath her. No, stay with me." Marcus pressed his flannel shirt against the worst of the bleeding on her side. "What's your name?" "Victoria. Chen." Her words were barely audible. "I'm Marcus. You're going to be okay, Victoria. The ambulance is coming. I can hear the sirens. My phone, briefcase." She tried to move. "Don't worry about that. Just breathe. Important. Passwords. All in there. Company. Thousands of employees." Marcus glanced back at the smoking car. It could go up any second. "Please," Victoria whispered, gripping his wrist with surprising strength. "Everything I've built." Marcus looked at her face, saw the desperation there, not for herself, but for whatever was in that car. He understood that look. He wore it every time he worried about providing for Emma. "Damn it," he muttered, and sprinted back to the Mercedes. The heat was intense now. He reached through the passenger side, grabbed the briefcase and the tablet, then ran back just as flames began licking up from beneath the hood. "Got it," he said, kneeling beside her again. "But none of this matters if you don't stay alive, you understand me?" Victoria's lips curved into the ghost of a smile. "Stubborn, father of a 7-year-old. Stubbornness is in the job description." The ambulance screamed to a stop and paramedics swarmed. Marcus stepped back as they took over, watching as they worked with controlled urgency. One of them looked up at him. "You got her out?" The car was leaking fuel. "Good call. Another minute and—" He didn't finish the sentence. They loaded Victoria onto a stretcher. As they lifted her toward the ambulance, her eyes found Marcus again. She tried to speak, but an oxygen mask was already being fitted over her face. Marcus stood there, covered in her blood and his own grease and sawdust, watching the ambulance pull away. A state trooper approached, asking questions he answered mechanically. Yes, he saw the car flip. No, he didn't see what caused it. Yes, he pulled her out. We'll need your contact information for the report, the trooper said. Marcus's phone buzzed. His sister, where are you? Emma's recital starts in 30 minutes. His daughter, her big day. And here he was, a blood-soaked mess on the highway. Actually, Marcus said to the trooper, I need to go. My daughter, sir, this will just take a minute. I gave you my statement. That woman is alive. I need to be with my daughter. He handed over his driver's license long enough for the trooper to photograph it, then headed to his truck. His hands shook as he gripped the wheel. The adrenaline was wearing off, replaced by the shakes that came after. But he drove to the community center, parked, and walked in still wearing his blood-stained shirt because he had nothing else. Emma's face lit up when she saw him in the audience. That was all that mattered. He didn't think about Victoria Chen again until 3 days later, when a man in an expensive suit appeared at his workshop. Marcus Webb? The man asked. That's me. Marcus continued sanding the cabinet door in front of him. My name is David Huang. I'm the COO of Chen Technologies. You saved my boss's life last Monday. Marcus looked up. How is she? Stable, recovering, thanks to you. David pulled out a business card. Miss Chen would like to thank you personally. She's been asking about you since she regained consciousness. That's not necessary. I think it is. You not only saved her life, you went back for her briefcase. That briefcase contained encryption keys to systems that protect the personal data of 15 million users. If it had fallen into the wrong hands... David shook his head. We're talking about a catastrophe. You also saved her company. Marcus set down his sandpaper. I just did what anyone would do. But not everyone did. Surveillance footage shows 7 cars passed that accident before you stopped. That hit Marcus harder than he expected. 7 cars. 7 people who decided it wasn't their problem. Look, David continued, Miss Chen wants to offer you a reward. No. Marcus's voice was firm. I don't want money for that. Then what do you want? Marcus thought about his daughter, about the bills stacked on his kitchen counter, about the college fund that barely existed despite his best efforts. Nothing, he said finally. Tell Miss Chen I hope she recovers fully. Tell her to hug her daughter tight. That's enough for me. David studied him for a long moment. She said you might say that. She also said to give you this anyway. He placed an envelope on the workbench. I can't. It's not money. It's a letter. Read it or don't. That's up to you. David nodded and left. Marcus stared at the envelope for an hour before opening it. Inside was a handwritten note on thick, expensive paper. Marcus, I'm told you refused a reward. I'm told you said saving my life was just what anyone would do. But I was in that car, watching you risk yourself for a stranger. I saw your face. That wasn't duty, that was choice. You don't know me, so let me tell you, I built my company from nothing. I know what it means to struggle, to sacrifice, to worry about providing for someone you love. You mentioned your daughter at the accident scene. I have a daughter too. She's the reason I fight so hard. I can't force you to accept help. But I can tell you that you gave me back my life and with it, the chance to continue being a mother. That's priceless. If you ever need anything, and I mean anything, please reach out. Until then, know that you changed everything for me and for my little girl. With profound gratitude, Victoria Chen at the bottom was a phone number written in the same careful script. Marcus folded the letter carefully and tucked it into his wallet, behind the picture of Emma. He didn't plan to call.